bold journalism.
But Drew Hernandez is a strong-minded individual.
Exposing lawlessness.
Drew Hernandez, who is ideological.
Finding the truth.
And use the word Antifa.
This is what they do.
Battling
They're
mainstream
liars. The woke mob, all they can do is lie.
These are the front lines.
What's going on, thought criminals? Welcome to Frontlines. I am your host, Drew Hernandez. We're going to go 1,000 miles an hour today, this entire week, just like we always do on this show. But this is our Davos Watch 2023 Frontlines exclusive here at Turning Point USA. Taking a look and monitoring what the World Economic Forum and the globalists are talking about. We've been clipping this on social media all throughout the night. Haven't gotten much sleep, but we are here because these people do not sleep and they're around the clock getting their agendas out there. Well, let's just get straight into this, guys. Immediately yesterday on Monday, Rolling Stone put out an article attacking me the week of Davos, right? This is how Satan works. It's a spiritual war that all of us are literally engaged in. Rolling Stone attacks Drew Hernandez for calling Balenciaga satanic. We all know that they are, and they even apologized for it. But Rolling Stone decided to take shots at me because I go on Rumble and expose these people for their Satanism. And here's the Rolling Stone headline: far-right superstars are failing on Rumble? Who's winning? This is what they said about yours truly. Drew Hernandez, relative newcomer to the site with 16,000 followers, has already drawn attention by wondering if the New World Order will enslave us in the metaverse. They talk about that, weighing in on the fashion brand Balenciaga's imagined ties to Satanism at 50,000 and 80,000 views. These segments are outpacing videos shared by users with platforms 100 times larger. Accusing me of being a conspiracy theorist, and anyone that tunes into me on Rumble that is obviously waking up to the reality that they are 100% satanic, that they put Baal and Baal in their branding with children, and I think it's pretty clear by now that the Luciferians are out in the open with their Satanism, and then they try and run cover, and then they try and apologize for it in the process. But it's clear, of course, Hollywood and Rolling Stone is going to get mad at me for calling out Lucifer and Satan going after children to try and discredit me and make me look like a conspiracy theorist, as if I'm somehow, wrong in the head for calling out Balenciaga and their very sus imagery and branding when it comes to children and literal Baphomet satanic Baal worship branding. This is what launched this Davos Watch week here for us on this show, especially for me. Well, let's get straight into this. We've been clipping this all throughout the night. I'm sure more stuff is coming out. I'm just going to let these people speak for themselves. Okay? Make sure to share all the links right now so we can get this information out to all the normies, to all the people out there that think this is conspiratorial on Rav, Rumble, Getter. Do it right now. Let's go. Davos Watch. Klaus Schwab opens up the World Economic Forum Davos 2023 with asking what it means to be the master of the future, or to master the future.
What does it need to master the future? I think to have a platform where all stakeholders of global society are engaged. Governments, business, civil societies, the young generation, and I could go on, I think is a first step to meet all the challenges.
Well, there you have it right there. Out in the open, Klaus Schwab making his intentions clear, starting the conference off with asking the question, how do we become the master? What does it mean to master the future? Well, these people are always looking hundreds, thousands of years into the future with their satanic agendas, okay? Rolling Stone wants to come out and try and discredit me, okay, for wondering if the New World Order wants to jack us into a VR reality. They're literally talking about that in Davos, okay? They're literally out in the open pontificating, okay, how they're going to move us into the future in a virtual reality, global reality. You have Microsoft sitting on stage with Klaus Schwab talking about this very thing. Klaus Schwab proclaims the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab opens up this entire conference with these insane visions with Vice Chair President of Microsoft, Brad Smith, unveiling their vision for a global collaboration village, a global VR metaverse utopia created and managed by the globalists. Take a look.
The Global Collaboration Village is a pioneering effort to use the metaverse for the public good, to create global cooperation and to strengthen global cooperation in the metaverse or using metaverse technologies. And we are pleased to create this Global Collaboration Village in cooperation with Accenture and with Microsoft. So the idea is to bring all the stakeholders, governments, business, civil society, together on a continued, sustained basis. This is the next phase, the next big phase of development in the virtual world.
It's especially important for this vision of a village without borders. It's an open development process, and it is an open development philosophy. We're creating at Microsoft, through Microsoft Mesh, a software platform that will be accessible to people through a variety of different hardware devices. This particular project, in our view, is of enormous importance for the world because of the role that the World Economic Forum plays in the world. This is an opportunity to create a village without borders.
There it is, using terminology like philosophy. We're going to use VR and jack your brain into VR so we can pump our philosophy of no borders and no national sovereignty whatsoever, so we can propagate your mind through technology in order to get what we want you to believe inside of your mind. But Rolling Stone says that's all conspiracy theory, and if I talk about it, I'm just a crazy person. So they do that for a reason, because they don't want you to see what these people are saying and what they're plotting for you and your family and your entire life. And if you don't like it, okay, here's Klaus Schwab proclaiming the World Economic Forum and its global affiliates must overcome those that have negative, critical, and confrontational attitudes towards them and their agendas.
Cooperation in a fragmented world. At the beginning of this year, we are confronted with unprecedented and multiple challenges. We need to overcome the most critical fragmentation. And the most critical fragmentation is between those who take a constructive attitude and those who are just bystanders, observers, and even go into the negative, critical, and confrontational attitude.
We must overcome those that have negative and confrontational attitudes towards us and our plans for world domination. You want to know who he's talking about? He's talking to you. He's talking to me. He's talking to the free world. He's talking to anybody that opposes these people and their tyrannical, futuristic ideas, which no one elected. No one is asking for their opinion. No, they are pontificating and imposing on you and your family how the future is going to go. And if you don't like it, you're negative, you're critical, and Klaus Schwab will overcome you. No. If God be for us, who can be against us? Well, Brian Stelter had to make an appearance at Davos. He hosted the Clear and Present Danger of Disinformation panel. It's totally cringe, and he just cannot refrain from attacking President Trump. And you have a United States leftist congressman on that stage admitting that he gets frustrated, that he can't get people to take a vaccine because of misinformation online. Take a look.
The clear and present danger of disinformation is our conversation here this afternoon. It follows a session just now about disrupting distrust. And of course, those are connected. So I hope that's where we can start. I'm Brian Stelter, formerly of CNN, now a fellow at Harvard University. We can try to put some real information out into the world to make up for all the crazy. I'll tell you a brief, funny maybe not funny story. So I leave CNN with regards to 2016 and Trump showing that lying works. Has that only become more true in the last 6 years? Do you see evidence that it's less true, hopefully, now? But haven't we seen many Democrats in the last 6 years pressuring Facebook and Twitter and now TikTok to be stronger in content moderation? Hasn't that been a wave that we've seen crash over for years now?
Well, I think this is the question of, ultimately what we're trying to achieve there is some measure of public safety, right? We're not, sure, there are some politicians who are going to go out and just get angry at Facebook if they see things that are mean. The difference is when, I have a constituency that I'm trying to keep healthy and I can't get them to take a COVID vaccine because of misinformation that's propagated on the internet.
There it is. There it is. These are the people that need to be removed. These are the people that are a problem here on American soil.
I'm Brian Stelter, and I'm going to go after your free speech. Your free speech is a threat to our regime. I'm Brian Stelter, and I am Lord of the Universe, and I will tell you who's crazy and who's not, because I'm not crazy at all. Look into my eyes. I'm Brian Stelter. Yes, your precious free speech. You love that. We're going to take that away from you too, because you Americans, you love free speech. Only I can have free speech because I'm a homicidal maniac that wants to take away your freedoms because we love democracy.
These are the homicidal maniacs, these tyrannical maniacs, okay? All right? This is who you're dealing with, okay, with these so-called elected leaders pontificating on foreign soil, okay, how they're frustrated that they can't get you to take a jab because of what's on social media, which we now know they're influencing alongside the FBI to pressure big tech what goes out in terms of what's misinformation and what's not. Absolutely insane with these people. Absolutely insane. You want to talk about insane, man? Here is a video of another so-called world leader. Like, they say it out in the open, man. They say it directly out in the open. A Swiss MP proposes cities where there is no individual ownership of cars and encourages punishing any businesses that do not align with their environmental goals.
Important for policy is really to change the rules of the game, no? So that sustainability becomes the easier choice, not just for the people, but also for the companies, no? So also then changing the way districts work. For instance, in Zurich, we have a lot of districts where you actually don't need a car because all the activities, no, school, buying something, everything you can do in walking distance, no? And by doing that, no, people don't buy a car, and it's not felt like actually they would like to have a car and they are not allowed to have it, but they simply don't need it because the environment was built in a way that they don't need it. And I think this is what policy needs to do. They have to change the environment. So a sustainable lifestyle, a lifestyle in harmony with nature is the easiest way to go. And also for the companies, no? And here perhaps a last point. I really like what you said on following through, no? We had all these nice commitments. We had the Paris Agreement. We also here at World Economic Forum have every year very nice commitments. What's important is really to follow through and also to also shed the light. Sometimes you're very critical with those who are acting, say there are, and we need to be critical, no, and see that there's no greenwashing, but we should also put the light on those who are not acting. And I think policy needs to try, and I think, for instance, Biden's suggestion that the government only buys with companies who commit to Paris, who commit to science-based targets, I think that's a smart policy. So that policy tries to leverage also the action from companies and somehow gets all companies to act. No, I think this is a smart way to do politics.
There it is. They want to enact policy that's going to punish you if you're not walking in line with the Green New Deal. Okay, if you're not accepting their prescription for your life, you will be punished if you don't accept what they want for your life. If you guys want to understand more, You guys can check out the American Response to the Great Reset. It is the new book by TPUSA. For any donation amount, go to tpusa.com to stay informed and to get educated about what these people are, what they believe. It's all satanic. It's all Luciferian. They're all tyrants, and it's all true. Like I said, man, this is all spiritual, satanic, Luciferian. If you don't believe me, here's this insane clip of USA climate envoy John Kerry at the World Economic Forum claiming that the World Economic Forum globalists are the select group of human beings touched by something at some point in their lives that caused them to have some kind of savior complex. And he literally says the experience is extraterrestrial.
And when you stop and think about it, it's pretty extraordinary that we, select group of human beings, because of whatever touched us at some point in our lives, are able to sit in a room and come together and actually talk about saving the planet. I mean, it's so almost extraterrestrial to think about, quote, saving the planet. And if you said that to most people, they think you're just a crazy tree-hugging, lefty, liberal, do-gooder or whatever, and there's no relationship. But really, that's where we are.
There you have it. Like I said, this is 100% spiritual. Woke up this morning after clipping all this stuff overnight, just really thinking to myself, like, we got to continue to get closer to God. We got to depend on God because these people know what they're doing. Okay? He knows it's extraterrestrial and something touched them somewhere in their life that made them antichrist, pseudo-Christ, in the place of Christ, giving them a savior complex, that they want to save the world, that they are the ones that are going to save all of humanity, that are going to fight climate change and save everyone while they're flying around on their private jets, showing up to Switzerland, lecturing all of us how we need to lower our carbon footprint while they're raising theirs, speaking down to the peasants, speaking down to the insects. Okay? It's satanic and Luciferian. It's spiritual in nature. These people interface with demons, and they know it. They're aware of it. They're aware that something touched them. They're aware that something enabled them. They're aware that something empowered them. These people are not atheists, you guys. These people are fully aware that God exists. You want to know why? Because they're fully aware that they're interfacing with something evil that's empowering them to prop themselves up as the savior of humanity. Whose position is that? That is Jesus Christ, ladies and gentlemen. That is why these people come out in the open and call themselves the select group of people that have been chosen to save humanity. That is Christ's position. And that is why these people come out and make statements just like this. Well, Savannah Hernandez has been on the ground. Here's a clip of World Economic Forum attendees responding to over 1,000 private jets being used to fly participants in for the meeting. And listen to their response, okay? Listen to these. Talk about being blind and unaware.
Last year, the statistics for 2022 said that over 1,000 private jets were used to bring attendees and speakers to Davos. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think there's a degree to which you've just got to accept that for climate change to be sorted, it's got to take discourse, and it's best if people meet face to face and discuss these things. You can't pretend it's not hypocritical, but I think, yeah, as I said, I think it's slightly necessary. I think it's not too big a price to pay, I think.
Well, I think on a global scale that doesn't matter. I think it's more important what decisions are made here rather than how the people come here by plane or by train. That doesn't matter on a global scale.
Okay, there it is. Cut it right here. Hold on, cut this right here. This is what I want people to understand, okay? This is the mentality that they're imposing, okay, on the general public. It's okay for the elites. It's worth it for them to run around and raise their carbon footprint. It's okay for them to be flying around in private jets while we, the peasants, have to comply with the master's orders. It's okay for us. This is exactly the agenda out in plain sight. with people that don't even realize that they're bending the knee to Luciferian tyrants. Savannah Hernandez, I love that clip, man, because it shows perfectly where people's heads are at that just accept this tyranny. We have Savannah with us right now. I understand she's in Davos. She's been on the ground, and apparently it's snowing out there. There's a blizzard out there. There is some darkness out there aside from these Luciferians. Savannah, what can you tell us of what you've been seeing out there on the ground? Amazing clips on Twitter that are going out there. Amazing stuff for us. What can you tell us that you're seeing on the ground this year in Davos? This is not your first rodeo.
This is my second time in Davos, Drew. And what I want to talk to you about, too, is right before you cut off that clip, I asked this same gentleman, well, do you think that it has an impact when the public flies on planes? And he was like, yes, of course. And that's why we need to implement these types of WEF policies to stop that from happening. So, you know, you see the immediate hypocrisy in the mindsets of the attendees here. Just to give the viewers here a couple of points of what is going on. One, the PCR tests are still required for people attending the World Economic Forum. And of course, that's not surprising to any of us, but this is a great example of in live time, what will happen to the average person that does not capitulate to the World Economic Forum's policies. For example, if you refuse the PCR test or if you test positive for COVID-19, keep in mind it's 2023, the vaccination is very much available. Herd immunity is very much a thing, natural immunity. Your digital badge to grant you access into the meeting will be desensitized. It will be shut off, essentially, and you will not be allowed access. So this is the perfect example of the WEF's mindset and what they would do to the public that would refuse to, you know, I guess go along with all of their nonsense. They would excommunicate them from society. They would not allow them to participate. Right now, it's in the World Economic Forum meeting if you refuse to take the PCR test. But let's say on a global scale, oh, you don't want to get the vaccination? Guess what? Now you can't participate in civil society. So that's one thing I wanted to note. Another thing, of course, the over 1,000 private jets used to fly attendees into Davos in 2022. Now, we are used to this hypocrisy, Drew, right? We are used to seeing these elites driving gas vehicles. My main question is, where are all of the Just Stop Oil protesters to glue themselves to the one street that runs through Davos? They could easily shut this entire thing down. Where are these same protesters to protest the gas vehicles being used at the World Economic Forum? Oh, are these people probably paid off by the World Economic Forum to push climate chaos and climate catastrophe to keep the masses distracted? And Drew, I've been talking to people on the ground, and an issue that continues to come to the forefront is mental health. Now, I want to focus in on this because I want us to understand what mental health actually means. We have an entire population that has been brainwashed and fear-mongered so hard that climate change has scared them out of having children, out of eating meat, being afraid of farming, being afraid of the very fossil fuels that run this entire world. Who would truly be impoverished if we eradicated the use of fossil fuels? Well, the very third world nations that these same elites tout and preach that they care about. So it's absolute hypocrisy, Drew. And again, the WEF wants you focused in on climate change so you can be distracted by the focus of the World Economic this year, which is the cost of living crisis that their own policies have created. Why is energy, why is food prices so high? Because of the WEF, because of the UN, and because of the anti-human policy that they have promoted.
100%. That is what the Great Reset is. That is what Build Back Better is, okay? It's a controlled demolition, economic, social, you name it. They cause the problem and they say, oh, well, would you look at that? You hate your life? Come to us, because John Kerry says, we're the saviors of humanity, Savannah. So we're going to embrace you with open arms because we're extraterrestrial and we are the saviors of humanity. Savannah, please stay safe out there. Where can people follow you on Twitter? Because you're back on Twitter. You're going to be on the ground for the rest of the week covering these homicidal maniacs. Where can people follow you and track all of your coverage?
Go follow me on Twitter at @sav_says_, and we'll be live on the ground continuing interviews and continuing to show the public what's actually going on in this remote Swiss village.
Dude, there you have it. Great work, Sav. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks, Drew.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what else to show you. All you literally have to do, don't listen to me, okay? Don't listen to Savannah. Listen to them. That's why I played you guys the clips. Listen to their own words. their own publications, their own agendas, because from the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. These people put this stuff out there because these people are about their business. Okay, when it comes to the New World Order, it comes to a technocracy, all right, a tyrannical VR, AR government. They all talk about this stuff, and they're in Davos right now. That's the number one conspiracy theory, that there aren't shadow governments, there aren't elected leaders, there aren't world government leaders all congregating together in some, remote place somewhere in the world. Yes, they are congregating and they're conspiring how they're going to take over the world because they believe that they're God. What is the end game here? The end game is to separate you from your creator. They're all proxies of Lucifer. And Lucifer, the devil, knows his time is short, very short. So he's going to deceive every single human being he can. Low IQ, high IQ, you name it. To drag him down to the lake of fire for all of eternity. That is the end game for the New World Order. Davos Watch 2023, here on Frontlines, powered by Turning Point USA. We are going to be watching these people like a hawk all week, like we always do. I'll see you guys on the next one. My name is Drew Hernandez. Make sure to share all of this. Get it out. We must resist. The time is now.
We must play offense. Game on.
You expect the rest of the world to live in La La Land. We're not.
We've been saying these things from day one.
Our solemn vow to you, be good, be brief, be gone.
You might find yourself changing your opinion on things you never even thought twice about. That really sets America apart.
You are not ready for season 2. This is Reloaded.
My life tale and my truth has been to fight socialism.
Are you familiar with structural racism?
Yeah, it's a myth.